In the last lesson, we talked about the importance of creativity and how creativity is a prerequisite for innovation. In this lesson, we'll look at innovation in a lot more detail. Let's start by acknowledging that innovation means different things to different people. So first we'll define what we mean by innovation and then use this throughout the course to help you understand how innovation can affect you, your community, and society as a whole. So innovation is best explained as doing old things in a new way that's more efficient, more economical, more effective, and provides enhanced value for users or society. My colleague John Besant, one of the leading authors on innovation management, offers this definition.
It's very simple. It's value from ideas. Now, the value could be commercial, very often is, but it's more than just business. A lot of my current work is about social value. I work with the Red Cross, with the Save the Children Fund, humanitarian players, and quite simply, innovation there is absolutely essential. It's life and death. So in a sense, innovation is important because it's about creating value from ideas.
Other innovation experts add to this discussion. For example, Scott Birkin, the author of The Myths of Innovation, defines innovation this way.
Well, the first thing to say is I'm not a fan of the word at all. It's used so easily and so cheaply, and unfortunately when people use the word a lot, they are not paying attention to what the word should mean. So the definition I offered today was significant positive change, because that depends on three things. One, significance, which means you have to go and look around and say, how are things right now? How are we going to do something much larger than that or better than that? Two, positive. There's all kinds of change. Some are very negative for the balanced book, but also for customers. Then third, change, that you're going to make something different. So whenever I see people use the word innovation, I always say, what do you mean? What are you going to change? Are you sure it's going to be positive? And who's the change going to be for?
Later on, we'll talk about 10 fundamentally different types of innovation, as well as the different impacts that innovation can have on people and markets. Some innovations just help current providers enhance what they offer to users or customers. This is known as incremental innovation. While other innovations change who the providers and customers are. This is known as disruptive innovation. We'll explain both of these concepts later. To introduce the topic of innovation, we'll focus on one of the most common aspects of innovation, the commercialization of a new idea or method. This is often seen as the development of a new product and its acceptance by the market. Innovation often includes invention. By definition, inventions are only innovations if they're put into use. Sometimes it's easy to understand this when we look at innovation in companies. In this course, we will draw a great deal on business examples, primarily because they're easier to observe and measure, but also because you might want to get a job in one or advance from your current job. And the one thing we know is that innovation and creativity happen because of the impact of individuals. So being creative and innovative can help you, both personally and in your careers. So let's review what makes an innovative organization, as people are often confused about this. Companies can only be regarded as innovative if they launch new products or services into the market. And by definition, this means new to that market, not just new to them. To be clear, companies or organizations that spend significant resources on research and developing new technologies are not necessarily innovative. They're only innovative if their research leads to the use of new products and services. In contrast, if a company derives a significant portion of revenues from products or services that are based on research undertaken by others, for example, by licensing or acquiring the technology, the company can be viewed as innovative. Critically, innovation involves doing different things or doing things differently, not just doing the same things better. That's viewed as improvement. And this can be a challenge because organizations often embrace continuous improvement, and it's a core aspect of business performance. It's certainly a short-term way to improve bottom-line performance, Whether you're a for-profit company, a social venture, or a not-for-profit organization, there's nothing wrong with improvement. It's just that it's different from innovation because it does not require changing the organization's structure, what the organization does, and how it does it. In contrast, innovation often changes the nature of competition, either by offering substantive improvements to current performance or by offering previously unavailable levels of performance. Perhaps it's easier to understand this when we look at an example. If we take Toyota. Toyota in 1997 launched the Toyota Corolla. The new 1997 Toyota Corolla had a few differences from the 1996 version. New rear lights and new wheel covers. In fact, the biggest change in that year was the fact that all Toyota Corollas sold in North America were made in North America. In contrast, the launch of the Toyota Prius in 1997 was a massive innovation. It was a hybrid using a gasoline and electric engine, with powerful electric engine stored in a battery, and electricity generated by the gasoline engine, all during braking. Originally launched in Japan, it was launched worldwide in 2000 and is now the all-time most fuel-efficient gasoline-powered car in the US without a plug-in capability. The Toyota Corolla 1997 version was an improvement over the 1996 version. The Prius was an innovative example of innovation. But as we'll talk about later, it still represented incremental innovation rather than disruptive innovation because Toyota Priuses are still sold by Toyota dealers and made in Toyota factories. We'll talk about disruption in more details when we talk about the challenge of implementation. So creativity is necessary for innovation, but why is innovation so important? It seems to be what everybody wants to do, what every company would like to do, and what every country claims is important for the future. Let's hear again from one of the innovation experts, John Basant.
There's plenty of evidence. If we don't change what we offer the world, our products, our services, whatever we offer the world, and if we don't change the ways we create and deliver them, we may not be around. In business, that's absolutely true. The marketplace soon sorts out the people who don't change. But even in the public sector, even in the humanitarian sector, there are still those challenges. We need to change. It's a kind of survival and growth imperative.
Ever since Schumpeter coined the term creative destruction in 1936, we've noticed that older companies are constantly outmaneuvered by newer, more agile ones. In fact, only 30% of the companies listed on the Fortune 500 today, that's the list of the world's biggest companies, were on that list in 1995. This means that 65% of the biggest companies in the world, think Kodak, Blockbuster Video, and America Online, AOL, have either been replaced by companies that acquired them or have been replaced by companies that now operate in markets that didn't exist in that time. As you can see, innovation is important for company survival. According to Booz & Company, innovative companies have 30% higher sales growth and 90% higher profitability. And companies that are able to establish a reputation for innovation find it easier to retain and attract both employees and customers as they build innovative communities around them. It's also easier to attract investors, potential partners and acquirers, which leads to better shareholder returns. So this explains the innovation imperative.
The innovation imperative highlights that all organizations must innovate today if they hope to create competitive advantage and avoid competing solely on price. Organizations today face a harsh ultimatum: innovate or die. Senior executives tell us repeatedly that failing to innovate will create a critical risk in their enterprise growth and even its survival.
In the next lesson, we'll explain the different types of innovation so that you can identify them when you see them, and perhaps use this framework to give you ideas on how you can become more innovative.